Shakyamuni Buddha first turned the wheel of Dharma in India, and his teachings were later consolidated into the Tripitaka. That was followed by extensive commentaries written by various Indian Pandits who taught the Buddha Dharma at great length. The teachings were then successfully spread throughout Central and Southeast Asia over hundreds of years. The Buddha Dharma was introduced to Tibet in the 4th century. 5 generations later, it was formally established there, and after a further 5 generations, King Trison Ditsin invited Bodhisattva Shantarakshita and the renowned tantric master Guru Padmasambhava to firmly establish the vast teachings of Lord Buddha within the country. Henceforth, many Tibetan scholars and Indian Pandits worked ceaselessly to propagate the Buddha's teachings in Tibet. One of the most famous of these was the illustrious Sakya Pandita, who received many Buddhist transmissions, especially those of Vajrayana, as well as becoming learned in all the relevant sciences, some of which had not been heard in Tibet before. The Sakya order itself was founded by Kun Koncho Gyalpo and was then formally established and propagated extensively by the 5 great masters of Sakyapa. In general, the Sakya order comprises the complete Buddhist teachings of Sutra, Tantra, and the outer sciences. It is a school which mainly follows the tradition of the 4 great translators, most notably Rinchen Sangpo. Among the Indian expounders, the Sakya order particularly emphasizes the tradition of Acharya Nagarjuna and Mahasiddha Virupa. His Eminence Chogye Trichen Rinpoche was the head of the Sapa branch of the Sakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. As one of the most celebrated among the great masters of Tibetan Buddhism, His Eminence was a renowned tantric master, dedicated practitioner, exceptionally learned scholar, and eloquent poet, embodying the wisdom, spirit, and activities of the Holy Dharma. Perhaps one can begin to comprehend the greatness of His Eminence through the words of His Holiness Sakya Trichen, who describes his great accomplishments in this way.
Chogye Trichen Rinpoche was certainly one of the greatest masters of this century. First of all, that he was born in a very special race, clear light race, and then from a very young age that he been enthroned as a Chogye Rinpoche and received innumerable teachings from very great masters, and not only that he studied, but then also he practiced almost entire his life. Due to this, that he not only has the profound understanding of the vast sutra and tantra teachings, but also has a very great realization. As a result, that his fame was spread like a wildfire in all directions, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama took precious Sakya Lamde teaching as well as many other precious teachings, and is one of his masters, as well as innumerable from all schools of Tibetan Buddhism. So many scholars, practitioners, and masters took teachings and blessings from Rinpoche. And we as the Sakyapas, of course, all the Sakyapas, everyone respect him and receiving teachings and blessings.
His Eminence was born in 1919 into the blessed Kushang family, a lineage descended from the clear light gods. Many auspicious and marvelous signs accompanied his birth. He was recognized early in his life by the 13th Dalai Lama as the incarnation of the previous Chogye Rinpoche of Nalendra Monastery, which was founded by Rongtong Sheja Kunrig in the 15th century. Thus he became the 26th Patriarch of Nalendra, which is one of the most important Sakya monasteries in Tibet. The name Kushang means royal maternal uncle, derived from the fact that many daughters of the family were married to numerous Sakya throne holders. One of these was Drogon Chagna, the supreme ruler of Tibet during the 13th century, who succeeded Chogye Pakpa, the first Dharma king of Tibet. At the age of 12, His Eminence was officially enthroned at Nalendra Monastery, where he remained until the age of 39, mastering monastic conduct and the rituals pertaining to mandalas, as well as the musical accompaniment of the various sacred rites. His Eminence completed meditation retreats of the entire major deities of all the 4 tantras. He had engaged in several 3-year meditation retreats, as a result of which he no doubt gained manifold realizations. However, it has been the character of noble beings not to disclose their realizations whatsoever. To support this, his autobiography reveals, "Though I have engaged in retreat practice of many deities at different times, I have no sign of realization. However, I have found stable and unfailing faith in the profound Dharma." This statement by His Eminence confirms further that he had fully satisfied himself with the food of devotion and had become a great Yogeshwara endowed with 4 authentic whispered lineages. It is believed that the name Chogye was derived from the anniversary date of Khenrab Chogye, who passed into Parinirvana on the 18th day of the 12th Tibetan month. From the time of Khenrab Chogye, the lineage of the Chogye Trichens descended from the Kushang family. The title Chogye means 18, and Trichen means the great throne, referring to the one who holds the seat and title of Chogye Trichen. His Eminence received the Lamdre initiation and instructions, as well as numerous other empowerments, transmissions, pith instructions and training in the ritual traditions of all 4 classes of Tantra from many highly realized masters. Among these, his 2 main root gurus were Zimog Rinpoche, Kunga Tenzin of Nalendra Monastery, and Dampa Rinpoche Shempen Ningpo of Nor Monastery. In total, His Eminence extensively studied all the major aspects of Lord Buddha's teachings. In 1959, given the change of circumstances in Tibet, His Eminence left for Mustang, where his sister was married to the king. In Mustang, Rinpoche revived the Vinaya practices, bestowing the novice and bhikshu ordination upon hundreds of monks, and gave empowerments and teachings according to the wishes of the people. From 1962, His Eminence acted as the Secretary General of the Council for Religious and Cultural Affairs of the Tibetan government in exile in India, according to the wishes of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. In 1969, His Eminence took leave from the Tibetan government and returned to Nepal to create the seat of the Sapa school in exile. His Eminence founded several monasteries in Nepal. Among these are the two Tashi Rabten monasteries in Lumbini, the birthplace of Lord Buddha, and Jamchen Lakan Monastery in Kathmandu. During the 1980s, His Eminence conducted the first 3.5-year Lamdre Lobshe retreat in Lumbini, which inspired the founding of other meditation retreat centers. After that, 2 more 3.5-year retreat groups were conducted at Bodhanath in Kathmandu. However, as an increasingly busy and noisy suburb of Kathmandu, this place has gradually become unsuitable for retreat. Due to these conditions, a new retreat center is proposed in a quiet location of the Kathmandu Valley. His Eminence continuously gave initiations, transmissions, teachings, and instructions on Buddha's doctrine. Those who had the fortune to receive an audience with His Eminence will no doubt agree that he was also an enthusiastic storyteller. Every empowerment given by His Eminence was always accompanied by precious stories about the particular bodhisattvas or teachers of that lineage, as well as stories that illustrate the importance of bodhicitta and other precious teachings of Lord Buddha. His Eminence was the lineage holder of the highly prized, uncommon, esoteric teachings of the practice lineage of the Sapa school. Throughout his life, His Eminence demonstrated selfless effort to propagate the Holy Dharma, continually spreading the holy teachings, causing them to flourish in the minds of all those who have faith in Buddhism. He always remained firmly committed to his mission of propagating the teachings of Lord Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, wherever they may be. His Eminence offered the profound uncommon teachings of the Sakya tradition to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. And transmitted all the major lineages to His Holiness Sakya Trichen, such as the collection of tantras given from 1971 to 1973. With the bestowal of grand teachings like the collection of tantras to His Holiness Sakya Trichen, His Eminence made an unparalleled contribution to the Vajrayana doctrine, and for this we are inexpressibly grateful to him. His Eminence demonstrated his commitment to spreading the Holy Dharma on a global scale by traveling to fulfill the wishes of his faithful disciples around the world, including visits to Singapore, Malaysia, the United States, Canada, Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Australia, New Zealand, France and Spain, where he gave many initiations and teachings. His Eminence also established a number of centers in many of these countries. In addition, His Eminence was awarded the Gorkha Dakshin Bahu by King Birendra of Nepal, a tribute that had never been granted to a Buddhist monk. This highly prestigious award is only bestowed by the king to a person who has given exceptional service to the nation. In response to Datang Rinpoche's aspiration to establish Munlam prayer festivals of the 4 schools of Tibetan Buddhism at the holy places of Lord Buddha, His Eminence became an inspiration behind forming the Sakya Munlam Committee and offered the initial facilities required. Opening a new door of merit at Lumbini, The Sakya Monlam is now held every year by Sakya monks under the guidance and supervision of His Holiness Chogye Trichen. With a view to facilitate young monks in their studies and to accommodate Sakya monks attending the Great Monlam Festival, His Eminence founded a new Tashi Rabdanli monastery, opened in 2004. His Eminence always allocated some time after lunch for visitors who came to receive his valuable blessings and to remove their worldly complications. His Eminence was also very famous among the Dharma community for his mantra water. People regularly brought bottles of water into which Rinpoche blew the mantra. Even a small amount of this was highly prized by those who knew of its effect, and a great many people avoided operations and serious diseases after faithfully drinking it. Without a single moment's leisure, His Eminence resumed his daily practice immediately after his last visitor. Performing sadhanas, chanting hymns, reciting mantras, and visualizing the tutelary deities, and above all, contemplating altruistic awareness, were part of the regular routine of His Eminence. Needless to say, his spiritual practice was conducted to bring ultimate peace to the world and to trace the path to Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. It was often said that His Eminence maintained the style of a hidden yogi, as he had engaged in several 3-year meditation retreats. Outside of these, His Eminence spent most of his time in deep meditation, practicing tantric rituals and prayer from early dawn to many hours past midnight. His Eminence is still regarded as having been the modern-day manifestation of past Indian Buddhist Mahasiddhas, such as Virupa. His Eminence passed from this world into Parinirvana at the age of 87 on the 22nd of January 2007, corresponding to the 4th of the 12th Tibetan month at 6:30 a.m.